When Jesus showed up on the scene, there was one huge question on everybody's mind, especially the religious folks. What is this guy's deal with the Old Testament law? I mean, this wasn't just some old book. It was the bedrock of their entire culture. And what he said next, well, it would change everything.
So Jesus just comes right out and addresses it head on with this bombshell. And you can almost hear this collective sigh of relief from some people in the crowd. The religious leaders are probably thinking, okay, phew, good. He's on our side. He respects the law. But as Dr. Bill Mounce points out, Jesus was kind of lulling them into a false sense of security. Because there's one little word in that sentence that changes the entire game.
Fulfill. That's the word. That's the whole puzzle. What in the world does it mean to fulfill the law? And look, this isn't some minor theological quibble. Dr. Mounce actually says that the relationship between the Old and New Testaments is maybe the most difficult theological issue in the Bible. And it all hangs on this one single word.
And this is where the tension really starts to build, right? Jesus says not one tiny speck of the law is going to disappear. So, why does the way his followers live today look so radically different from what you read in the Old Testament? I mean, the Old Testament law has 613. That's 613 distinct commandments. They cover everything. And some of them are, pretty jarring to us today, like capital punishment for a rebellious kid. And most people who follow Jesus today definitely aren't following the strict kosher food laws. This is just a perfect, everyday example of that disconnect. A basic kosher law says you can't mix meat and dairy. And yet, what's one of the most popular foods on planet Earth? A pepperoni and cheese pizza. So what gives? This right here is the question we have to figure out. How can Jesus say the law is here to stay, but at the same time, the way it's practiced seems to have totally changed? If it's not abolished, why isn't it all obeyed? So, to crack this code, Dr. Mounce explains that the Old Testament isn't just a rule book. It's more like a grand story. Think of it like a giant, wide funnel that over centuries narrows down to one single point. And that point, that pinnacle, is Jesus. So when Jesus says he fulfills the law, it's not just one thing. It happens in at least 5 major ways. He is the subject of its prophecies. He's the final sacrifice that the whole system pointed to. He fulfills the entire principle behind the food laws. He's the only one who ever obeyed it perfectly. And he's the clearest picture we have of God's character. So let's break that down piece by piece.
Okay, so the first two are probably the most straightforward. The Old Testament said a Savior would be born in Bethlehem. Check. Jesus did that. It predicted he'd be a suffering servant who would die for others. Check. He did that too. The law also created this really elaborate system of animal sacrifices to deal with sin. Jesus' death on the cross was the one, final, perfect sacrifice that brought that whole system to its ultimate conclusion. It wasn't just abolished, it was completed.
All right, but what about the food laws? What about that pizza problem? Well, Dr. Mounce explains that the real point wasn't just about what you could or couldn't have for dinner. It was about drilling in this huge, important concept of clean versus unclean. It was an outward symbol of an inward truth. So Jesus fulfills the purpose of those laws by going deeper. He teaches that what really makes you unclean isn't what goes into your mouth, but what comes out of your heart. He completed the lesson that the laws were pointing to all along. Dr. Mounce tells this hilarious story about his first trip to Israel. He's starving. He and his brother go order a pizza. And he says it was the single worst tasting thing he had ever eaten. And why? Because of the kosher laws. You can't mix meat and dairy. So you get a cheese pizza or you get a meat pizza with no cheese. It's a funny but really tangible reminder of how these laws actually played out in real life. The very laws that Jesus came to fulfill. Now for the last two, which are a bit more theological but so important. Jesus fulfilled the law by being the only person in history to ever obey it perfectly. Not just the letter of the law, but its true spirit, its deepest intent to love God and love people. And finally, if the whole Old Testament is like a slow, gradual reveal of what God is like, Jesus is the 4K, high-definition, final picture. He's the most complete and clear revelation of God we could ever have. So you see, fulfillment isn't about erasing the law. It's about bringing its entire purpose, prophetic, ceremonial, and moral, to its ultimate completion in one person. Now, this whole framework is super helpful, but it's not like it gives us a simple one-to-one answer for everything. And Dr. Mounce is really clear about this. If we're going to be intellectually honest, we have to admit that some pieces of this puzzle are still really, really complex. For example, what do you do with the laws that were specifically for governing the ancient nation of Israel? This is where you get the really tough stuff, like the command to stone a disobedient son. And Dr. Mounce admits he doesn't know exactly how that specific law is fulfilled in Jesus, but he knows it must be because Jesus said the whole thing is fulfilled in him. It's a huge question that shows you just how deep this topic goes. Okay, so let's get back to the scene. Jesus has laid all this groundwork. He has affirmed the law. He said it all points to him. The religious leaders are kind of nodding along, maybe a little confused, but they're still with him. And then he drops the ultimate zinger. Now, to feel the full impact of what he says next, you have to understand who the Pharisees were. These weren't just guys who went to synagogue on the weekend. Dr. Mounce calls them the most meticulously religious people probably the world has ever seen. They were the gold standard. When it came to keeping the rules, they were the absolute best of the best. And then Jesus says this, "Unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven." Can you imagine hearing that? The people who everyone viewed as the most righteous people on earth. Jesus says they're not even getting through the door. Mounce says this statement would have just absolutely decimated them. This is the final jaw-dropping twist in the whole thing. Jesus didn't come to lower the bar or make things easier. He raised it to an impossible height. He wasn't just calling for better rule following. He was calling for a righteousness that came from the heart, a standard that no one could possibly reach on their own. So in the end, Jesus fulfilled the law, not by getting rid of it, but by completing its story and showing its true, deep meaning. And in doing that, he set a brand new standard, a righteousness that had to be better than the very best human effort. And that leaves all of us with a pretty profound question to think about. What does that kind of surpassing righteousness actually look like in our lives today?